What up? What up? We are here. It's Golden Spaces. We are here after the sixth straight road win, apparently. The Warriors
Look at
bounced
this.
back, beat the Washington Wizards in DC behind 25 points from Klay Thompson, I believe 21 from Kuminga, and 18 from Steph that he scored all in the second half.
Yeah.
Scoreless in the first half for the first time since 2019.
Ooh.
Yeah, interesting game, but really a largely uneventful game. I mean, what did you think of the game, like overall? Like, what was the biggest takeaway for you, Kariemah?
The biggest takeaway is that we won the game. So that was like top on the list. But also, I have to give credit, which I can't even believe I'm about to voice these
Don't do it.
words.
Don't do it. Who you giving credit to?
Little Chris actually came out looking
Okay.
sharp and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And was a positive, and I didn't feel like he slowed us down in any kind of way. He actually kind of picked us up, really, because that first quarter it was just like, what is happening here? But yeah, so it was good to see that he found his shot, that it still remains with him, so that's good to see. And shout out to Moses Stay Ready Moody, getting the start tonight
Mm.
and still showing why he needs to be in the rotation. Pluck him anywhere, he is going to hustle, make plays, do the dirty work.
Yeah. And we also saw why other people probably shouldn't be in the rotation anymore. We'll get to that a little later. I thought you were going to
Mhm.
give credit to Steven.
Oh,
Steve first. But, but I'll take
but
the Chris
you
Paul
said,
credit.
yeah, but the biggest takeaway to see Chris Paul out there looking like he's had some good rest.
Yeah.
He was eating good, but he looked like he was also paying attention to what our struggles have been throughout the time he's been out. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Chris Paul's performance. I honestly anticipating him coming back. The worry about it is always tied to how much is he going to play next to Steph against some of the bigger teams or against the teams that have a lot of perimeter scoring. The
mhm.
Wizards kind of don't, like they think they do, but they really don't.
Well,
Um,
that first quarter, look, that first half, they was looking like they
it was looking
did.
like it a little bit. But yeah, I like this performance. I mean, super steady. You already know what you're going to get from him, so that's never really an issue. The shooting is a plus, even though it should be like expected. And I guess he's been more and more consistent. Even before the injury, he was more and more consistent as a shooter. So if he can consistently knock down jump shots, that opens up another dynamic for this team because it makes him more of a threat in the pick and roll, and it makes him a nice outlet for when guys, help over on Steph or Klay or somebody roll into the basket, and that's a good punch to have for your offense. He was not he was not the team leader in plus minus today, despite him being a plus 17. Old fashioned Big Loon Dog was a plus 20. Um, I want to say that
he
was almost exclusively Klay Thompson hitting a bunch of shots in a row and Chris Paul and stuff, but give credit where it's due. He was out there.
Loon was setting the screen. Loon had
He
the
surely
assist.
was.
So,
He
and he
surely
was
was.
grabbing the boards, getting blocked. So you can't just be like,
You're right.
no.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Loon was out there hooping. Dario wasn't.
He was not.
He was not.
That is a fact.
I mean, it's getting kind of in Jermichael Green territory for Dario right now. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's
Oh, that was
much
a
better.
great call.
I think he's much better than Jermichael Green just as a player at this point, but he's not playing up to his ability right now. He's not hitting his shots, even though he was 1 for 2 from three today. But earlier in the season, he was a moderate volume 3-point shooter. He was consistent, and he wasn't this bad defensively. He was always kind of But even at the 4 now, he's given up layup after layup and can't guard on the perimeter. It's been not been a good watch. And
Yeah.
he finished with 0 rebounds in 14 minutes. So he's not
Ooh.
really doing any of the big things that we need him to do. So
And that turnover line was just it, back to back.
just like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Like, what is happening here,
You're throwing
Dario?
it to a guy who's not even looking at you. But yeah, he got to get it together, or Steve just got to sit him for a little bit until he
Yep.
gets it together. And like I said, if somebody's not playing well, if Trace is in foul trouble or is not playing well, if Loon's not playing well, you say, okay, let's throw Dario in there just to see what he's got, just to give him another chance to gain his rotation spot back. But right now, he doesn't deserve a rotation spot. He's just not playing at any type of level like worthy of a rotation spot, let alone more minutes than Trace. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. He wrote him a lot in this game. And I think he was trying to be like, okay, well, Chris is back. That's his partner in crime. Let's see him work with him and maybe he'll find his shot again. But no, everything else was garbage. And he probably should just only get garbage time with the G Leaguers and things of that nature once the game is, either out of hand or completely
Or
secured.
right, or in hand.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's look at some of the other performances. Like we said, Steph was scoreless in the first half. In the second half, he kind of turned it on a little bit. But I mean, last game they hinted that he was a little tired, and he's quickly shot it down. But I don't know, Stephen.
Steve might have been correct.
He might have been a little correct. He's never going to make
He
the
was
excuse,
looking.
but we have eyes, Stephen. He looks. I mean, I won't say he's out there like gassed, but he just looks like he's not completely peaking and it like sharp right now, and that's just how the season goes. And for a big portion of the last like 10 or 15 or so games, he's had an extremely high usage rate. Like he's taking a lot of shots. The offense is running through him a ton. He's dribbling a lot, and he was shooting the light side of the ball like for an extended stretch. So it was kind of justified, but it's going to catch up to you one way or another. And I think we're starting to see it kind of catch up to him a little bit. What do you think?
No, I completely agree with that assessment because that's what it was looking like. And thankfully he did get it going in the second half because we still need his scoring regardless.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. We're going to need his scoring. So if he can drop in a quick little 18 in the second half of a game, we'll take it. We'll take it because then,
Mm-hmm.
the defense still has to respect what he can do because at some point he's going to start making shots, which he ended up doing. So, hey, nice little break here, which hopefully that helps as we, take on the next matchup,
Mm-hmm.
at the Garden. So it's fine. It's fine. But it was kind of like, you did look a little tired, those shots. I mean, you had some air balls, like,
Right.
eyes messed up too. So
Some turnovers that were just like, what are you even thinking? Some shots, it was like, what are you even throwing up right now?
yeah.
For sure. Jonathan Kuminga finally back in the 20-point column. Like, how many games did it take? Yeah, he had a streak of 20-point games.
Yeah.
And the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, he did have 19 last games, but it was a long streak for him not scoring 20
Right.
again. He's back in. He had 21 tonight. A lot of it was like fast break layups because the Wizards are a joke of a franchise and a team. So he was just getting a lot of fast break dunks and layups, stuff like that. But it's good to see him get 20 again. Have some highlights. Just feel good about what he got going on out there. And he had 6 rebounds and 5 assists as well. Like he's starting to kind of put it together in terms of being able to make those reads, even though they're simplifying it for him. You still got to go out there and do it though. So it's good to see him get a nice 21, 6, and 5 today.
Yeah, and I think because early on he wasn't rebounding, and it's just like you can't just be out here not hitting the glass and things like that. You can't just stand around looking and expecting everyone else to do what really you should be doing. So I think, at halftime there was a little talking to or whatever, and it was get it together, because then you saw him being a lot more active and actually, I think being more attentive on the defensive end as well, as you saw him really engaged in guarding Kuzma, because before Kuzma was just cooking him. And
Mhm.
then, JK really wasn't doing nothing on the other end. So it was just like you got the talking to, but you came out and showed out. So that was good.
Yeah, we need him to be like that consistent high motor guy. And I tweeted
Yes.
something not too long ago about him and Wiggs in comparison to KCP and Aaron Gordon and how their motor just runs so much higher than those two guys. Now, KCP and Aaron Gordon aren't as talented as Wiggins and Kuminga are. Those dudes just have more to offer from a skill set and a talent standpoint. But I think Aaron Gordon and KCP kind of understand what their role is a little bit more. And, you know, they're in the prime of their career. Wiggins is as well. But Aaron Gordon and KCP are role players. Like they know what they want to do and they just go out there and execute it. And we need those two guys on our team to do that consistently. Now, JK is, second option, third option, whatever the case may be. So he has more offensive responsibility. But defensively, on the glass, all of these hustle play things, he has to be one of those guys that's like, we look up at some point in the game, we're like, man, JK is involved in every single play. Like,
Right.
we need that, right? Because, I mean, when Gary's out there, you're like, man, Gary is all over the court. He's going for every rebound. He's going for every steal, all of that. Moses is another one. Like, how did he get that steal and save it out of bounds? Like, he's going for offensive rebounds, everything. We just need to put that motor into Wiggins and JK, and they will
Yeah.
be such a ridiculous duo on the wing. Like, they're already good without that motor, right? So just
So
imagine if they got it.
imagine. Yeah.
Imagine if they got
And
it.
And we've seen it. We've seen it in them, just here and there. And it's just like, I don't know what it is that's going to have to click for them. I mean, Kaminga, it's going to come because he's still young. But for Wiggins, it's just like, why isn't that switch just automatically clicked on?
Oh, right.
Always. Always. It's just like that will alleviate so much more pressure off of Draymond, who's trying to orchestrate everything out there on the defensive end as well,
Hmm.
and trying to tell you where you need to be at
Yeah,
all times. But like, turn it on, turn it
right.
up,
Right.
like get excited about it, like get excited
Exactly.
about having a rebound.
I mean, and after the title that they won, he was talking about how easy it is to rack up rebounds and stuff like that. And it's like, bro, just do it. Do it. I
Like
want it. I
Nike
want to make an
says.
all defensive team and all of this stuff. Like you can easily do it, man. There's like maybe 10 people in the NBA total who have a claim to be just as athletic as either one of those two dudes, maybe even less. They're two of the most athletic players in the league. So their presence should be felt at all times in those areas. And it just, they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. Going to the bench. We talked about Chris Paul already, but Klay Thompson, 6-man Klay Thompson,
Yep.
another good game off the bench. He had 25 points. He got a heater, I believe, in the third quarter. Kind
Yes.
of put them up. 4 assists, 3 rebounds. He was making some good reads out of the pick and roll as well. It looks like he just kind of settled a little bit, like figured out some things as far as with his shot and just his confidence. And now he's, just consistently looking like himself again, vintage Klay.
Yeah, he even said in his post interview just how, coming off the bench, I'm actually able to like see what the game is doing. And he's like, there's no nerves happening. Like when you start, you're nervous, it's just like, oh, you've got to be on like out the gate. But coming off the bench, he's able to actually like survey it and then know what he needs to do as he comes in, more relaxed and just kind of going into a flow opposed
Hmm.
to any kind of pressing of things like that. So it's just all working. And who he goes up against is going to be, lesser players than starters. So he can really feast off of that. And it's all about basically who you're putting around him and what those matchups are that he could
Mhm.
truly, truly just, cook at all times. But that doesn't mean that he sticks on the bench, because I do think that there's going to be times that he's definitely going to be back in the starting lineup. But even if you come off the bench, it doesn't mean that you can't enter into the game 2 minutes after it starts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and he's still one of the highest minutes played on the team. So he's still getting starter run basically, but just entering a little bit later after the start of the game. So
Yeah.
yeah. But it was still good to see because he looked like he was in rhythm and he wasn't really rushing any of the shots. I mean, here and there, but nothing like to where you felt like, okay, let's bring it back. Bring it
Mhm.
back.
He was already on a heater, so it's like you can live with those a little bit more when he's already made
Yeah,
3, 4 in a row. It was the ones where he hadn't had hit a shot yet, where he takes the heat check.
right.
It's like, all right, Clay, you probably could have gone without taking that one. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think ultimately, whether he starts or comes off the bench, it comes down to his calmness and his rhythm. When he's in
Hmm.
rhythm, I'm pretty confident in whatever shot he's going to take. Like he's going to take some racy ones, the same way with Steph, but they're going to make so many of them that you live with it. And when his teammates are looking for him and getting him in the flow, because at this point he's not a guy that's just going to go out there and get his own numbers just out of nothing, right? He needs to be set up now more than ever because of his age, because of the injuries he sustained, and because of the way that teams guard him at this point. They're going to top lock and face guard him and stuff like that. So his teammates have to really get him involved and get him easy shots. And as long as he's mentally calm and not thinking about all the media and all the fans getting on him and all that type of stuff and what he views himself as a player, then his mechanics and his talent is going to take over. His skill is going to take over. And he's still one of the best shooters in the NBA and NBA history. So
Yep.
happy that he's kind of settled into whatever he's settled into, whether it's, like I said, coming off the bench, starting, whatever, just having that calmness about him is going to take him to wherever he needs to be and get him playing more consistent, I think. So
Absolutely.
shout out to Klay for that performance. Um, Gary Payton came in. He had 13 points. Like we said, all over the place, 3 steals, 1 block. Defensively, he's a menace like always. Jordan Poole on the other end was kind of like on the receiving end of his defense for a lot of the night. And I mean, it's funny, like the second and third leading scorer from the 22 championship team are like both coming off the bench in this game. Jordan and Klay. It's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
right? The-
Yeah. I noticed that and I was just like, this is this is a little interesting how
Very.
just everything kind of, I guess, comes full circle when you think about it. But I did notice that and kind of like I'm wondering if that kind of just entered into their minds as well. Like, oh wow, it's like, the Spider-Man meme. Look, me and you,
Right.
but yet Clay went off. Jordan, not so much.
Not so
But we're
much.
still rooting for Jordan. Just putting that out there because still love Jordan.
Mhm. He somehow was a +8 this game, but yeah, we're rooting for Jordan. Like, I think he'll eventually figure it out. I think he needs to be in a little bit more serious situation and have a few more years under his belt before he really figures it out and becomes more consistent again as a player. But yeah, we're still rooting for Jordan. We're still fans of Jordan Poole, despite everything that's gone on and how everything went down with him, which we don't agree with. Like, it shouldn't have gone down that way, but it is what it is, and hopefully he's growing from that situation. But let's look ahead. All right, we probably
Well,
gonna have a short
wait.
card.
You gotta at least big up Moses one good time because
Oh,
just so deserving and just I was color me surprised that he was in the starting lineup.
hmm.
Once I saw that Wiggins was out for personal reasons, first of all, I was just like, oh, okay, so Clay re-enters, They just make that work, whatever. I had a slight feeling that, just throw Moses out there, but I was like, "No, don't be ridiculous, Kariemah, because Kurt's not gonna do that." And look, he does it. And again, still has such high praise for Moody. So maybe there is no tension between because they speak about it constantly behind the scenes, but it was really good to see Moody get the start. And straight out the gate, Moody is just hustling, making saving plays. Just he was everywhere and just glad, his shot was falling too. So that was great. And
Mhm.
just love to Moses Moody.
Moses Josiah Moody. Very biblical name.
Very.
But yeah. I mean, the Kerr bingo board, obviously, after the game, he hit all of the terms that he usually hits with Moses
All of
Moody.
them. Yep.
Such a good pro. Reminds me of Looney. Not surprised. He's always ready. He's such a mature individual and all this stuff. Like, yeah, we've heard all of that. Like, he's also a very good basketball player, and he can help your team win more games if you play him. But I don't think there's any tension between him and Moody, at least not from like a I'm not going to play him because I don't like him standpoint. I think Moody and his
Yeah,
camp may have some like resentment because he's not playing naturally.
absolutely. Yeah.
But I think Kerr actually genuinely thinks that he's a good player. But I think the thought process is he overlaps with the other wings. Like he overlaps with Wiggins, Gary,
Wiggins.
Klay, and all those guys. But I see it as this: like you view Klay as someone who can play multiple positions. Same thing with Wiggins. They play the 4 sometimes. They play the 3. They play the 2. Even Gary plays the 4 sometimes. Moses can probably play the 4. I'm not gonna like the NBA is not what it used to be in terms of the size, especially coming off the bench. A lot of these guys are 6'6" power forwards coming off the bench, stretch shooters, not power players, right? He's not going out there and trying to guard whatever big power forward there, LeBron or something like Aaron Gordon. Like, even though he did have him guarding LeBron in the playoffs, that didn't go well. But of course, Steve Kerr is going to throw him in the fire in that situation and not in the regular season. But the things that Moses do in terms of rebounding the ball, protecting the rim, playing defense, using his length, I think. And then people want to talk about how he can't guard perimeter players that well because his feet aren't that quick. Well, put him on put him on like a bigger player, a slower wing type of player. He definitely, in my book, should be playing over Dario. Like, especially if you're going to play Dario at the 4, like
especially
because he can't keep up with modern 4s. So you either have a slower player in Dario or you have a slightly smaller player in Moses Moody. Come on. I think we saw today, and we've been seeing kind of all season that Moses offers more as an athlete, as a defender, and that's the things that you need more than whatever Dario is going to bring at this point. So, yeah, big up to Moses Moody. He had a great performance. He had 12 points, hit 4 threes. It's another thing. He's going to hit threes. Rebounded the ball, 2 steals, 1 assist. Knows his role. Doesn't get in the way. Just play Moses. Just play Moses. I don't really know what else to say.
That's it. Play him. Play him.
That's it. 21 years old too. So the sky's the limit for him. I mean, it's crazy how many 21-year-olds. I think him, Pods, and JK are all 21.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Wild.
Wow. But they're all good. So
Yeah.
you give the other 21-year-olds a chance. How about you give Moses Moody a chance, please?
Just a thought.
Just a thought. But looking forward, they do have the Knicks next. They have the Knicks next on the 29th. And then they have, back-to-back against the Raptors, both on the road. The Knicks will not have.
They lost.
They lost recently.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they won. They beat the Pistons. Oh, did they play tonight?
Yeah, they played tonight.
Oh, okay,
well.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. So they lost to the Pelicans, so they're going to try to bounce back from that. They've been kind of winning, losing recently. So we try to give them 2 losses in a row. They're not in a good place right now. So They beat the Pistons when they really shouldn't have. I think everybody saw like Monty Williams
yeah.
go off in that play. So take care of business there. Once you take care of business there, you'll have a much harder game against the Raptors after that. And then you just look at that game and the Boston game and just say, like, win one at least out of those
Yeah.
games. And then you'll see where you're at from there. But just looking across the league, Max Strus hit an amazing full court, almost game winner to beat Dallas.
Yes,
Was huge.
it was. What do you mean almost game winner? That
No,
was.
almost full court. I mean, my bad. Like, it was like a half court.
Okay. I was like, that
Yeah,
was the game.
definitely the game winner at the buzzer. That was huge because we now gain a full game on the Mavericks, and we're in ninth right now. We're only a game and a half behind Dallas at this point. No, 2.5 games behind Dallas at this point, but only 2 less losses. So that was huge for us in the standings, and hopefully we keep it going. I think the Mavericks got like a little toughy schedule coming up. Yeah, they play the Raptors and then the Celtics. Then it lightens up a little bit, but hopefully they lose those 2 games against the Raptors and the Celtics.
Yeah.
So we play the same teams, so hopefully we beat them and they lose to them. That would be great.
Right.
That would be great. But you got anything else?
No, look, we just got to keep stacking wins. We held on in the fourth quarter where it thought, it could get wonky, but I will say Kerr called them timeouts a lot quicker. They scored 6 straight points. He called a timeout because then our lead was at that point, I think 17 when it was just 23. So he was Johnny on the spot with those timeouts as he saw, wait, y'all are doing foolishness. We stopping this right here. We are not losing this lead to where it is now a 3-point game,
Right.
with 5 minutes left. Yeah, so kudos to Steve Kerr for that. And he's officially signed.
But it was also like, yo, Steve, they're giving up the lead because you are playing Dario Saric all these minutes in the fourth quarter. So it's like,
yeah, but then, yeah, because then he took out the wrong person because he inserted Draymond, but left Dario in, and it's like, no, Dario needed to be out. But then we started doing the foolishness with the turnovers too. Draymond, Steph. It was just like, okay, let's stop. Okay. So
just foolishness from that. I mean, I think they just kind of like thought the game was over or whatever. I wouldn't take too much away from this fourth quarter. They do have to just like start putting together a bunch of games where they just kind of like win the fourth quarter, dominate it a little bit, just to show like, okay, we can do this and we can hold on to leads and we're not going to just trick it off. But yeah, let's see them do it from here. Good.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
So appreciate you guys for joining us. We are Golden Spaces Pod on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you're watching us on YouTube, 95.7 The Game's YouTube channel under their podcast folder or playlist. You'll see us there. Support us. Leave a positive review. Rate 5 stars or wherever you're listening to your podcast because we are available everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey app, all of those things. You can find us there. You should listen to all of us. You should listen to us on all of those things at the same time while you're watching us on YouTube. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Continue to support us. Please continue to interact with us. Send us send us in questions and not videos. If you want to send us a question on video, that would be great.
Okay.
That would be cool. You could just tweet it at us or whatever the case may be. But yeah, we will answer your questions whenever we can. And we hope you guys have a great day whenever you're listening to this. Kariemah, you have anything else?
No, just have a wonderful day when you listen to this.
There you go. The voice. All right, people. Peace.